Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It is with great pleasure that I bring to you today the Managing Director of Navarre Minerals, Mr. James Gurry, who's going to walk through a presentation to update you on what is happening with the company and give a bit of an outline of plans ahead. There will be a short period at the end for some Q&A, and we'll record this as well. So I'm going to hand it over to James, and off to you, James.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Peter. Yeah, it's my pleasure today to update the market, update existing shareholders and new investors on where Navarre's at, given that the company has spent over 12 months now on the sidelines. So look forward to taking everyone through it, and please get your questions ready at the end of the presentation. Just the disclaimers here, please do take note of the disclaimers, given that we are working through quite a process here at Navarre. It's great to have a new competent person sign off on our recent ASX releases and our annual reports, but please do take note. As you might have seen earlier in the year, we did announce that given that Navarre has been on the sidelines, it did go through a period of voluntary administration. It has been quite an awkward period, of course. Many of you will remember Navarre in its heyday, in its heritage as the Victorian gold explorer. Navarre really appreciated Victoria long before many of the other current companies were around these days. And we actually negotiated the opportunity to bring the company back out of administration and return it to that heritage as a Victorian gold explorer. All the Victorian tenements are intact, none of them have expired. And it also includes our assets also include obviously the JORC resource that the previous team reported, and that was the real capstone of the previous work in Victoria in 2021. It has been a bit of a process to get to this point where we are today. So we were able to raise some convertible note debt funding, and that helped us secure the company out of the administration. And it's also helped us fund some of the drilling that we've done at the Tandara Gold Project that you might have seen us report 3 weeks ago. And a lot of the funds have also been used, obviously, to recomply with our ASX requirements, given the annual report and other quarterly reports were not lodged over the past couple of years. So I think it's important to realise that everything in relation to the Victorian tenements and what the company used to be is intact as we go forward. We've spent a lot of time and effort now recomplying with our ASX requirements, which is terrific. And we're on the verge of relaunching the company now. So hence the reason for the presentation. So what have we got in the new Navarre? We have got, as many people will remember, 5 advanced exploration projects spanning across Victoria. Remember, they're in the Bendigo zone, also near Ballarat. We do have that St Arna ground. Everyone will remember the Stall Corridor project for Navarre being sort of the flagship project for the company. Remember, our ground is all near operating mines, which is terrific and very important in Victoria as we seek to cooperate with everyone else in the state. You will remember that we've had at least 4 greenfield discoveries in the Stall Corridor and of course elsewhere. As I mentioned just before, the key thing that we have that perhaps other junior explorers don't have, and who are of perhaps a similar market cap potential as what we're aiming at, is that we've got over 700,000 ounces of defined exploration potential across the JORC resource, the inferred resource that the guys reported back in 2021. And plus there's an exploration target, remember, on top of that at the Irvine project in and near Stall. So that's a terrific thing that we've got to bring to the market as we go forward. Remember the Tandara Gold JV project within the Bendigo zone, and of course that's 50 kilometres northwest of Fosterville. and also not far from the prolific Bendigo gold mine with a terrific history there. And of course, you would have seen that we have already contributed to the drilling program with our joint venture partner there, and we reported those results recently, which is terrific. Importantly, since the company last traded on the ASX in June last year, through the process that the company has been through, we've been able to cleanse the balance sheet, of course, which was an important process. There's nothing remaining of what the company previously owned in relation to the Queensland asset and the Queensland subsidiary. None of that is with us as we go forward now. And it's been terrific for me to join the company and also introduce a completely new team as we take the rather large portfolio forward to the market again. We have, as I mentioned briefly, been able to do this courtesy of some convertible debt that we raised earlier in the year. And it's been terrific to bring on the new directors. There's 3 of us directors in total at the moment. And also bring on our new exploration manager, Peter, which is great. We have drawn up over the past few months an exploration plan that covers all our projects. It covers all our minimum tenement expenditure. It's a prudent program, and it allows, based on the amount of capital that we intend to raise, it allows for 12 to 18 months of continuous drilling across all our projects, and importantly, probably really focusing on our 2 most important projects, which is the Stall Corridor and the Tandara joint venture, of course. I think it's an important thing to realise that when we started embarking on this journey to create the new Navarre and bring it out of its recent history, the intention has been to do this at the lowest possible valuation that we could, to keep expenses as low as possible, and really present the opportunity to those that backed the company previously, the existing shareholders. We have had some support from new investors, which is terrific. And a lot of people fondly remember the high market caps that Navarre used to trade at in 2020 and 2021. We've obviously been able to, or we have rebased the valuation now based on what we have spent to secure the company again, and also our expenses to date. So we should be, and we are pitching this at a very, very attractive valuation for those that are willing to back us into the future and get Navarre back on the road of advancing its projects.
James, just on that, do you have an estimate of the money that's been sunk into the ground in the previous lifetime of Navarre?
It's quite a lot, Peter, given that from 2010 to 2021, it was purely a Victorian explorer. So it's around the order of $60 to $80 million that was previously invested by the team. A lot of that went into the Stall Corridor project and proving up the Irvine resource. And I think it's important to remember we've just had our accounts done for 30 June last year, December, and we're just finishing off the accounts for 30 June this year. And we actually carry a book value capitalizing those exploration expenses on the projects that we're advancing. And that book value is around $32 million. So it does give you some idea of what has been spent in the past.
Thank you.
I'd just like to introduce the new team to everyone. So myself, I started working with the company a little over 12 months ago. So I was there for sort of shepherding it through and doing what we could to secure the company, save the company, and bring it back to the market. I've got a long history in being a mining analyst at leading investment banks. Spent a lot of time analysing the largest gold and iron ore and coal companies listed on the ASX throughout my career at Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank. but also most recently I've worked with smaller companies in my period at Partner Securities, and also serving on the board at Red Hawker Mining, which is advancing a project over in the Pilbara. Richard Taylor's been working with me for most of the year thus far, and his experience has been invaluable. Richard brings experience as a CEO at Premier One Lithium and Terramin Australia. He's been a great support to the company over the last 6 months as we've put the pieces in place ready to relaunch the company and getting it trading again on the ASX. Importantly for everyone, we have been able to introduce a new geology team to the company. This is led by Angela Lorigan. Angela's got terrific experience across the narrow vein gold styles that we have here in Victoria. She spent obviously a long career down in Tasmania and been very well recognised there in Tasmania for that. And really what she brings to the team is recent success in her full-time consulting to the Southern Cross team and the terrific advancements they've made at the Sunday Creek project. So Angela's been a terrific contributor since she joined a couple of months ago, and really welcome her to the team and her experience as she guides us on this geological journey. And as we were putting the team together, it was terrific to be able to draw on the experience of Kenneth Bush and his team at Core Prospecting. Now, those are the guys that have put together the exploration plan that we've submitted for approval to the ASX, and the basis of which we're seeking to raise the capital over the coming month from. And people might know Kenneth as being the exploration manager with Southern Cross. He's obviously worked for Agnico and at other major mines across Victoria. And it's great to be able to bring on his exploration strategy, his technical expertise, and his guidance. So that was terrific to be able to work with Kenny and the team as we put the plan together. And we did that at the same time. In the background, we were recruiting our permanent team, and that's where Peter De Vries comes into things. Peter's a very experienced exploration manager. He's also an engineer. He's been running his own consultancy over recent years. He was available to come in and immediately step up and really work on the implementation steps now for the exploration plan that we do have. So it's great to have a new team on board, and we leverage all the old information that we inherit from the Navarre database. Everything's intact from a Navarre point of view, from an information point of view, a tenement point of view, and we've got the new team working quite harmoniously now on getting back to the drill bit over the coming weeks, which is great. We all do know that the flagship project for Navarre has been the Stawell Corridor. It's where Navarre has been based previously, and a lot of the work that Navarre's done has all been around this Stawell Corridor. Remember, back in March 2021, the company reported that inferred JORC resource 304,000 ounces, which was terrific, and there's an exploration target on top of that. And it's important to know that we have that this continuous tenement series here south of the Stawell Gold Mine. We've got a series of basalt domes that we've only really tested 2 or 3 at the moment, which is terrific. So there's plenty of exploration work to be done in the future through the Stawell Corridor. We will look to get back to the Langy Logan discovery, which the guys made a few years ago, which is terrific. That certainly is far from drilled out, and we'll look forward to getting back into that. And as I mentioned, there's quite a few other basalt domes where the gold occurrences occur, and we look to exploring those in the years ahead, as well as advancing what we all know in terms of what we have at the Irvine project and the Resolution and Adventure deposits. I would neglect, if I didn't mention it, was the Morning Bill discovery. That's in the volcanics, slightly to the west, and that's a terrific discovery that we've got there in the background. It's a little different to the other gold deposits and prospects that we do have, but we look forward to working that one also in the years ahead. Remember, this was the capstone of the company back in 2021. 3.9 million tonnes at 2.43 grams per tonne. It's an inferred resource, 304,000 ounces, which is a terrific start for us. And as you can see in the diagram on the right, that is defined in the dark red sections with those drill holes throughout. Importantly, as I look to pick up where the previous team left off, there is a defined exploration target here. It certainly doesn't have the amount of certainty that a JORC resource does, but it's a terrific thing for us now to be able to leverage off as we look in the coming months to get back into particularly the Resolution prospect and to drill that again and try and bring some of that exploration target up into a JORC resource and explore further the real focus on the high grade potential that we do have there at the Irvine project. And in our exploration plan, we will really be seeking to follow up the high grade areas of the defined JORC resource. So I look forward to getting stuck into that very soon. And obviously, having these numbers reported previously in 2021, having our current geological team review everything and endorse the numbers most recently in our annual reports, it's terrific that investors and those considering reinvesting in the company and those that are considering investing for the first time, you really do have something here that you can sort of point to from a valuation perspective. There's not a lot of greenfield stuff for us. We are benefiting from the work of the previous Navarre team and what was invested across the whole portfolio. Now, coming to our other, perhaps most significant asset, Tandara, we know that that's in a joint venture with the guys at Catalyst. We're at our 49% stake. It was a terrific effort by those that backed the company, those professional and sophisticated investors that did participate in getting the company back to the point where it is today. And we were able to contribute and maintain our 49% share in the project, which is fantastic. Everyone that I've spoken to is very familiar with Tandara, very familiar with what Catalyst has done and is going to do or is planning to do at the Four Eagles project, just slightly to the north. We know that this is in a great zone here within the hinterland of both Bendigo and, importantly, the Fosterville mine. So we look forward to really advancing and contributing and helping our joint venture partners push Tandara forward over the coming months, as we know it is probably the most significant asset that we do have after the Stall Corridor. As I mentioned, it's great for a company that's still in ASX suspension in terms of its share trading and not really having any significant operations. It's been terrific for us to actually be able to contribute and report on some drilling results already. So one of the key questions, that investors and the ASX actually ask is, when are you going to, if you do raise the money, when exactly are you going to be able to do the drilling? We've actually already reported some drilling in August, and that comes off a program that was completed in the second quarter of this year. We had some terrific results here. It was following up on a program that was previously done with some excellent results also. But our 7 holes here really did prove that there's continuity of the mineralized system over the 3 zones that we know that we have there at Tandara. It gave us great encouragement to step into the field again later in the fourth quarter of this year, which is what we're planning to do with our joint venture partner, as long as everyone gets in behind the team. And so it's terrific to show the continual mineralization, encouraging drill results here. And we look forward to advancing the project further and further. over the coming months. Now, as I have mentioned a couple of times, we have designed an exploration program to not only cover off on the minimum tenement expenditures that we do have across the whole tenement portfolio in Victoria, but importantly, we want to focus on our most important projects, which is obviously in the Stawell Corridor and Tandara, and also advance the other projects that we have within the portfolio to ensure that they're getting the exploration activity that they require and that they need, and they are and that we're really focused on taking all our projects up to that next level. So the guys at Core Prospecting earlier in the year, they did spend a lot of time reviewing the portfolio. They have designed our exploration program for us. We've really gone very detailed, and we know exactly where we'd like to put the drill bit over the coming months, and actually have planned out thousands of meters of drilling across Stawell, across St Arnaud. We will go back. We intend to go back and revisit the Jubilee project that perhaps people are less familiar with. But really, we want to advance all our projects right up to that next level, so that on the projects that have been in the portfolio for a long time, we really want to push those towards an exploration target over the next 12 to 18 months. And also with the Stawell Corridor, we want to get back in there, get back on the Lassonde curve, and really keep growing that resource size that we do have. But it is important that we actually bring Tandara and St Arnaud potentially towards some numbers that we can report to the market over the coming year or 18 months. And so that's really what our exploration program has been designed around, and we're really building on the portfolio that already exists there, the hundreds of drill holes that have been done previously across the whole portfolio. So we look forward to really pursuing this exploration plan with plenty of vigor.
James, I think this slide's quite important for new shareholders because it really focuses the whole value opportunity here in Navarre. As we discussed before, $60 million sunk into the ground in this area over a decade in operating. This is a multi-project portfolio with various stages of focus targets and funded to fully exploit these targets. It puts new investors in a really great position in a gold price environment at $2,600 an ounce, which wasn't what the gold price was when the company was at the height of its market cap.
No, that's certainly right, Peter. And I think people that are considering investing in the company now are really benefiting from the fact that we negotiated and bid to buy back essentially the company in the Victorian portfolio and the listed part of the company. Those agreements were struck in the fourth quarter of last year, which was a very tough environment for ASX small caps and micro caps. And the gold price was 20-25% below where it is right now. And in this last 9 months where the team have been working in the background, we've seen the valuation remain unchanged essentially because we're starting the company again, and certainly the gold price has increased and worked in everyone's favor. So it's been terrific from that point of view, Pete, and leveraging off the money that's been spent previously, leveraging off the previous expertise within the company that related to Victoria, which is great, but also being able to bring that sort of pent-up activity and all these projects. As you do say, there's nothing really greenfield here. They're either old mines, they're previously drilled targets, they're very well identified prospects. 4 discoveries at least across the Stawell Corridor and elsewhere. So you are right. There's a lot of targets for us, and it's a matter of raising sufficient capital to do them all justice. And I think what it also highlights is that there's multiple ways to win here for those that are willing to back the company into the future. There's lots of ways over time that we can realize value and realize upside for shareholders and investors, because there are cooperation potential with those in the regions of our existing projects, and so there's natural interest from those that are mining nearby, operating nearby, or those or other people that would just like to work with us across some of these projects, that other people have come to me and identified that they'd really be interested in if we ever needed some help on some of these projects. So I think there's multiple ways to win. There's no shortage of targets here for the new Navarre as we go forward. So it's about us being focusing on our two most valuable assets, which will be Tandara and the Stall Corridor, but also advancing those other projects in due course as well. People might have seen our announcement last week, which I think this is very, very important for everyone, particularly if you're an existing shareholder who's been hard hit by the recent history of the company. It's important to know, as you work through the detail of the announcement last week, there will be more materials coming out in the coming days and weeks in relation to how we propose to do this stage 2 recapitalisation. It's important to realise that we've done this as inexpensive as possible. We've kept the expenses and the valuation as low as possible to create something that we hope is quite compelling for those people that are willing to back the company again as we get back into the field over the coming months. As we announced last week, we will look to raise a maximum of $6 million, and that's to fund our exploration program going forward. Importantly, for those existing shareholders that are hurting, we've done this at a low valuation, and we're giving them the first opportunity to fund the majority of new capital going into the company. It will take quite a while for some people to digest the situation about where the company is. However, we have designed it, as I've said a couple of times now, to be compelling. We're going to break that $6 million capital raise across 2 parts. And this capital raise is intended to be one big placement. And it's a priority offer placement in stage 1, or in part number 1, of $4 million to the current shareholders. So that'll be 40 million shares at 10 cents a share. We do have quite good backing from the professional and sophisticated investors that back the company in the convertible note raise to secure the company, bring it out of administration. Those guys are really interested in our public offer portion of the placement, which is $2 million. And there is capacity there for any shortfall that exists under the priority offer placement for the public to come in and snap up that shortfall. So that's the general design of the whole program, and people are obviously investing across those 2 parts of the placement on the same terms. Importantly, for the use of funds, the vast majority of what we will raise will go into the ground. Unlike the profile of the company a couple of years ago, the company's essentially being cleansed of its debts, all of its debts, and any debt that we currently have, which is really the $1.7 million that we raised a few months ago to get the company going again. Importantly, we raised that convertible debt from equity investors, and that debt automatically converts into shares upon the completion of this stage 2 capital raise. So it's important that all the money that we're raising, as much as possible, is going into the ground and into that exploration program that I just highlighted on the previous slide. The minimum that we need to get through that exploration program will be $4 million. And that's why we've pitched the minimum capital raise at that level. And that will be sufficient for us to do the minimum and do it at a neat but steady pace over probably longer than 12 months. But it'd be terrific if we could raise more than that, so that we can actually give investors and give the market more as we go forward, particularly in this higher gold price environment. The shareholders will, of course, be asked to approve all this at a meeting that will happen 28 days after you receive or after the notice of meeting is posted out to people in the coming days. As I mentioned at the start, we've tried to do this to keep the valuation, unlike the previous market caps of the company, which people will remember back in 2020 and 2021, exceeded 100 mil in market cap. We're bringing this back at an enterprise value prior to the money going in at less than $5 million. I do hope this is compelling for people and see that the value that we're really putting on the table to possibly attract people back into the company. That should give us, based on the amount of capital that we do raise, a pro forma or a total capitalization of between, say, $8.5 and $10.5 million in total capitalization immediately prior to perhaps bringing the shares out of suspension. So we need to raise this money. We need to prove to the ASX that we've got the money in the bank, and that'll be our key part in terms of getting permission to get the shares trading again. So as I've mentioned a few times, I have and we have tried to make this as compelling as possible for the existing and previous shareholders, but also make it compelling for everyone who's willing and wanting to have a look at Navarre going forward. Myself and Richard and the other directors have committed to go again in this stage 2 capital raise with at least with over $100,000 in investment. Sorry, getting a bit ahead of ourselves there. And importantly, as we also announced last week, we have this capital raise now cornerstoned with a key investor, the Dunkeld Pastoral Company. It has interests in Western Victoria, but importantly, they see a lot of value in our two most valuable assets, Tandara and Stawell. They're really encouraging us to get on with things. So it's been terrific to be able to bring them in as a cornerstone investor with a $1 million investment into this stage 2 capital raise. So really grateful for that, and really grateful for the investors and the shareholders that have come forward in recent days and weeks and saying, all right, the history's been pretty awkward and pretty bad, but actually you're pitching this as you should to the old investors first and giving them the opportunity to recapitalize the company. And also it's terrific to see a lot of support from the existing convertible note holders who really helped us resecure and gain control of the company again and bring it out to where the point where we are today. So it's great to see some commitments thus far for the stage 2 capital raise, and it's important that shareholders go through the documents, the notice of meeting and the prospectus that should be coming out in the coming days, if not coming couple of weeks, to them in the mail and through their email addresses. So please get in touch if you need further information. Here's a bit of a timeline of where we are. So as I mentioned, the document should be coming out sometime over the coming days in September. As I mentioned briefly, 28 days after that, we will hold our annual general meeting for the year, the one that was missed at the end of last year. So and in that, there'll be a series of resolutions approving the new profile, the new character, the new economic characterization of the company as we've proposed here going forward. And now that'll include a consolidation of the existing 1.6 billion shares that are on issue. But it is important to realize that we have invested, we've paid a lot of money to keep the company listed and to give us this avenue to get the shares trading again just by catching up on its compliance that it missed last year. That's been an important investment by the team so that we can keep those costs low and bring the market back the assets and the tenements and the work that they previously knew and appreciated about Navarre. A few days after the general meeting, the stage 2 capital raise will close. We will look to obviously fill the book as soon as we can after people get the documents and everything. So please express any interest that you do have in coming in. Please come in early. And then after we've banked all the cash, and we'll look to get the shares trading again as soon as possible. So I'm hoping that happens by the end of November, and I'm hoping that or I have a good expectation that we should be drilling already by that stage, which is terrific. Both on our operated projects, but also continuing on the programs that we've contributed to recently at Tandara. Important to remember that if you put in money in the coming month or so into this stage 2 cap raise, none of it is going to pay off debt or anything like that. The existing debt converts into shares as well, so that we're all behind the company, we're all behind the exploration program, and we're all about getting Navarre back into the field and operating again. This is just a good reminder for people about some of the market caps and the valuations that Navarre used to enjoy. It got some terrific results as they were discovering and defining and drilling out the resolution and adventure lodes that comprise the Irvine project, which is fantastic. Obviously had the capstone in the maiden mineral resource reported in early 2021. And we've gone through what that is, but it's an inferred resource plus an exploration target on top, which gives us plenty to work with as we look to get back in the field over the coming months. And also we had follow-up programs since then across Victoria. So it's important to realise that the guys, although the tools were put down in Victoria, certainly from 2023 onwards, there was work continued across the project in Victoria. The company was still operating in Victoria right up and through until June last year. As you can see by the flat line on the right-hand side, not a lot has happened since June last year. However, if you squint a little bit, you might see the gold price in the background, and we just want to demonstrate here that there is potential, from my point of view, for a bit of pent-up value realization here, because we have retained all the projects in Victoria, all the tenements in Victoria, the JORC resource, the terrific discoveries that you do know, and the gold price has actually increased quite a bit over the past 12 months, which is fantastic. And in all that period, since June last year, the Navarre share price in the company has been on the sidelines, and we're aiming, as I said, to bring it back at a compelling valuation. And it's a clean balance sheet. It's a new team. It's the old projects, and we look to hope people can contribute going forward. So just a bit of a demonstration there about where we think that, certainly a high gold price. So just a bit of a recap. Thanks to our supporters at the bottom there, particularly. It takes a bit to get a company like this going again, particularly after the financial history that it did have. It's great to have a lot of our previous suppliers work with us once again to recreate the profile, to do what we need to do in terms of recomplying, in terms of getting out and into the field, reviewing the projects and designing the exploration program for us, the guys at Core Prospecting, and our financial backers, Highbury and Canary Capital. They really did support us earlier in the year, and they're all raring to go now to get this stage 2 capital raise out of the way, so that we can really get back into the field, as you can see in the picture here, and also get those shares trading again, because it really has been a pity that the company has been on the sidelines, but we are looking forward to getting things going again. Please reach out if you have any questions. Follow us on LinkedIn, and certainly go to our investor page on the website. That's about it, Peter. So I've probably done enough talking. Yeah.
A good comprehensive summary there, James. I think both existing and new shareholders will appreciate the detail you've gone through there to explain the process that the company's gone through, you and the team and the board to get to this state where we are now, which is on the verge of successful relisting. And am I right to say that you're expecting that around at the end of November, that all things going okay, that relisting on the ASX?
Yeah, absolutely. We've tried to do this as quickly and as humanly quickly as possible as we can. Been working with our accountants and auditor to get all the compliance requirements up to date. And as I have mentioned, we're on the verge of sending up the documents to shareholders with a 28-day notice period. The key thing is holding that shareholder meeting and having people come in and support the future of the company as we've pitched it and to be part of it, and hopefully we see the shares trading soon after that. So hopefully that is by the end of November.
All right, and as we wait for people to type questions into the chat section at the bottom of their screens, also it sounds like we'll be out drilling in November, so we'll be having some news flow straight away once you hit the markets. But will there be some more results to come through from the Tandara drilling that's recently been undertaken?
No, it was great to have the results from that 7-hole program, and we reported those about 3 weeks ago when we presented at the Australian Gold Conference in Sydney. So it was great to have the results out then. That reflected a program that was done earlier in the year in the second quarter. And we're just coordinating with our joint venture project partners at the moment as to the next program that'll be done on the Tandara project. And I expect that to hopefully commence in the coming month, if not 2 months. So I suspect that might beat the rest of the projects in terms of being the first drilled. But we still have plenty of liquidity at the moment, which is great, and that's why we're also advancing the projects that we operate directly, and getting our driller quotes, getting our permissions to drill on the ground from the people that we need to consult in terms of that. So yeah, all the results have been reported, Peter, from the last Tandara program, but there is an upcoming program that we hope to commence very soon.
Okay, and can you talk to the engagement with Victorian Resources Department and the condition of the tenements and the security of those tenements within the company that we're restating?
Yeah, sure, Peter. That's a very good question. We've worked closely with AMETS, who were our previous tenement managers, and they've been terrifically supportive of us as we get back on our feet. The fortunate thing was that none of the tenements expired during the period that the company was under external administration. There were a couple of maturities just prior to June last year, and the company reapplied and for those tenements, and those renewals have been approved. But of course, as with all companies in Victoria, we do have to prove to the department that we can execute on the plans that we have submitted to them. So it is absolutely critical that we raise these funds and show the department that we can meet the minimum tenement expenditure and our agreed spend across the portfolio. So our tenements are in excellent condition. AMETS have really helped us in terms of lodging any outstanding activity reports that we needed to do. They've all been lodged. And as you can see from our annual report that we have lodged 3 or 4 weeks ago on the ASX, and we'll drop another one in the. There are some renewals that the company applied for prior to June last year, and yeah, so We just need to get the money in the bank, and the department will be happy. And it's been great to meet with them alongside our advisors, AMETS, every couple of months as we've gone through this process.
James, when will the convertible note holders be sent information about the conversion, and do they get any priority in the $4 million offering?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the convertible notes, as per the convertible note deed, they automatically and mandatory convert into shares upon the stage 2 capital raise. So rather than anyone having an option to exercise on either side, there's trigger points, and the key trigger point is for the company to do a capital raise immediately prior to having its shares resume trading on the ASX. And as you can see, we're planning, or we're launching that right now. So the countdown is on for those backers and early backers at the convertible note to see that convertible debt convert into equity. And we're very grateful for those backers. And absolutely, we're looking for those people to really fill up that $2 million public placement. It's looking very good in terms of filling up that $2 million from the existing convertible note holders, which is fantastic.
And James, for the benefit of a few people asking about the dilution of the new shares against existing shareholders, can you discuss the dilution and the new structure there, please?
Yeah, sure, Peter. It's important that we need to realise that this is a restart of the company, essentially, and we need to be seeing it from that perspective. I do acknowledge what has gone on in the past and up until June last year when the voluntary administrator was appointed. It's a very awkward and financially devastating period of time for everyone involved, for the hundreds of employees that the company used to have in relation to the mine in Queensland, which is now gone, employees here in Victoria, the suppliers, and also the shareholders. As we know, there's not many winners at all in this situation when a company goes through a period of external administration. And as part of our efforts, and it certainly wasn't easy to re-secure the company and get the opportunity to relaunch it, we paid for that. We had to raise capital. That wasn't easy, and we're essentially restarting the company again. And that's brought about the need to consolidate the existing 1.6 billion shares that are on issue and essentially start the company again. But as the point I made at the start, we've tried to do this at the lowest possible valuation by keeping expenses extremely low, by having the minimum number of directors and people backing us. We've really tried to do this just ourselves so that we can bring it back to the old shareholders who had a bit of an affinity for what Navarre was, particularly in its guise and in its heyday as a Victorian explorer. That's what we're taking it back to. That's what the company's been stripped back to. And we've got the opportunity to restart the company with an appropriate capital structure that should settle out at about 100 million shares on issue. So we appreciate what's gone on. It is a hard pill to swallow for previous and existing shareholders. However, as I say here at the bottom of this slide, tried to do it at a highly attractive valuation and provide those people with those investors with the first opportunity to back the company again. You're on mute there.
Makes it easier if I do that. Thank you for that presentation. I will also encourage people, shareholders and interested parties to join the Investor Hub portal at the Navarre website, where they can be updated with ongoing information and news and be privy to shareholder videos and engagement from yourself. We're looking forward to some more the continuing news as we go along the way. If there are people that have got some questions they'd like to send directly to James, get them in at nwrcommunications.com.au, or alternatively, directly through the Investor Hub section of the website, where James will receive those questions as well. James, a few parting words for our audience here today.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Thanks for your time, and thanks for everyone's participation today. This is really unveiling the new Navarre as we go forward. As I said, we'll have these capital raising documents come out to the market in the coming weeks, and please do we appreciate about where the company has been. It did have a very good geological history and across the whole of Victoria. We're fortunate to inherit the portfolio that the company used to have, as well as maintaining that just the ASX listing, which has been able to mean that we've kept the costs as low as possible as we bring it back to the market. We're bringing it back to the market now. We appreciate those people that have backed us earlier in the year. We appreciate those that had an affinity for the company previously, and we really want people to come in behind the company and help us take it forward as we want to get back into the field, as you can see in this picture right here. So thanks a lot, Peter, and I look forward to engaging shareholders and investors over the coming weeks and months.
Thanks very much, James.